one and all, and welcome to episode, 212 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you, as always, live on YouTube. And we need to go through the usual rigmarole to make sure that everything is coming through on the tablet, which it seems to be. I'm getting an advert for cruise ships. I don't know if you got one. Clearly, YouTube is trying to tell me something. Here we go. And the first comment goes to Angela. Hi there, Persolaise and gang. Good evening. Hello to you as well. Herb says greetings. I need to move this because I can't see the comment properly. Tammy Gratto says good morning from California. Beyond excited to join alive. We are very excited to have you here as well. Sylvia says hi, everyone. Aileen, hello from Buckinghamshire. Looking forward to tonight's episode. Lalwa is in Bahrain. Joanna is saying evening from London, everyone. Thank you very much to all of you for tuning in. If you are watching live or you're watching the recording, please feel free to leave a comment, ask a question. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and please do consider supporting my work on Ko-fi. You will find information on all of that in the video description below a little while after the end of the broadcast. And today's video is going to be something that we haven't done for a little while because it's going to be a sort of longer format video, a feature-length video, but not a list, so not a best of, not a top 10, but a kind of roundup of some of the new releases that have come under my nose recently. A couple of which I have, no, I'm just sort of looking here, about 3 of which I haven't really smelt properly at all. And also, if we have time, we may do a classic. So regular viewers will know that this is how Love at First Scent actually started, with hour-long videos where we talked about several different scents. And I thought, well, we need to mix things up a little bit. We will still do the top 10s, we will still do the lists, we will still do the best ofs, and we will still do the single episodes, single perfume episodes, but every now and then we should do a sort of group roundup. And I used to always start those episodes, didn't I, by saying, I think we should start by smelling a perfume. So I think we should start by smelling a perfume. I'm not ignoring the comments, by the way. Lots and lots of hellos. Johannes is here, watching from Sweden. Gavin is in London. Sarah's watching from Chicago. You are all very, very welcome. And Tushara, as always, is in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Is that Guril? Is in Norway. Apologies if I mispronounce your names, okay? And Yura is wearing Lone Star Memories from Andy Tower. You smell amazing. Right, I thought we would start with this. This is going to be a genuine Is It Love at First Scent, because I have not smelt this before. This is, if we get in really, really close, the Eau de Parfum Naturelle of Chloe. And on the front, it says that it contains organic rose. This is Chloe's attempt at being all green. It came wrapped in this, now you see it, I'm going to pull a rabbit out of the perfume box, hanky? Is it a hanky? And on the back, it says, our eau de parfum is vegan and formulated with 100% natural origin fragrance, naturally derived alcohol and water, nothing else. Our rose proceeds from organic farming. It is hand-picked and is sourced in a way that contributes to a more ethical and more sustainable culture. Is it also by Michel Almairac? See, you guys are good. I know he's done a few for Chloe. Yes, this one is by Michel Almairac. I did know that, which is also another reason why I thought... the perfume is vegan, says Time to Musk Up. Yeah, the perfume doesn't like having KFC or Burger King. Other fast food outlets are available. So, obviously, okay, I care about the environment. It would be silly to say, to sort of turn that statement on its head and say, no, I don't care about the environment. But I'm not sure that environmental issues actually exercise me as much as they do the generation below me, and I don't think that's necessarily anything wrong with that. I think every generation has its thing, its issues that it needs to campaign about, and obviously I try to do my bit for the environment, and I try not to be careless or completely selfish about the things that I do. I mean, I drive a car, I go on airplanes, you know, etc., etc., etc. But yet, having said that, because I think I wasn't the generation that was brought up with those sorts of issues at the forefront of my mind, I still sometimes get a little bit taken by surprise when a brand decides to do a green thing. I mean, I think it's commendable, but where I was going with all of that was that I was going to say, ultimately, I do think that the deciding factor in all of these things is how, how a green perfume smells. Green meaning environmentally, not olfactorily. How a vegan perfume smells, because if you take all of those measures, but actually you create a product that doesn't smell particularly good or doesn't fulfill its function as a perfume, then there's a bit of a problem there. What are people saying about it so far? You're saying interesting. Woozy says technically Hiram Green would also be vegan. I don't know. We would have to look on his website. I know he certainly calls his perfumes all natural, but he wouldn't be vegan if he uses any ingredients derived from animals. I'm so surprised now, says, you were spot on with my name. First time for... Oh, I see. Well, it's because I seem to remember a maths teacher from many, many years ago, a maths teacher who was English, saying that second letter in your name isn't like an so is it Guriel? I don't know. Maybe I've misremembered that. I don't know. There we go. Somebody's mentioning real ambergris, for instance. Rich Mitch says, my mum just asked if you were Julian Clary. Well, maybe I was Julian Clary in a former life, but today I am not Julian Clary. That's the best comment I've had for ages. Okay, let's spray it. Here we go. Julian Clary, doesn't he wear like tons more makeup? It's like tons more makeup. I do have to cover up a little bit of redness before I... Oh, shut up, Persolaise. Michel Almairac, all natural, organic rose, Chloe. Let's smell. Oh, gosh. Well, I have no idea how long it's going to last, but the first whiff is certainly super, 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 super natural. I don't mean witches. I mean extremely natural. Gavin's still talking about animal ingredients, saying, I know there's musk and castoreum, but nobody uses natural versions of them. Oh, yes, people do. Absolutely, people do. I see why honey is not vegan, but I thought that was synthetically created. Also, ambergris, it's not sperm whales. It's not as though sperm whales are farmed for it. No, absolutely. I mean, the whales aren't even aware if you're using the ambergris they've created or not. And yet, some people will not want to touch anything that has got ambergris in it. Do you enjoy Almairac's other designer releases like Burberry Body and Chloe Absolute? I'd have to go back to Burberry Body, but I certainly liked what he did for Bottega Veneta. Okay, now this is, absolutely, it's a rose. It's a very, very, very natural smelling rose. And yes, it does smell quite green, but it also smells very youthful, very exuberant, very fresh. Now, Michel Almairac works at Robertet, unless I'm mistaken. So they are world renowned for having some really, really beautiful natural materials. But I must say that the first whiff of this reminds me of a material that I think IFF did a few years ago called... I'm going to get this wrong. We've talked about this on this channel before. I think it was called Rose Essence, and it was making use of one of the byproducts of creating rose oil, and it had... I remember when I smelt it in isolation at an event. It had it. I keep going back to this word natural, which seems like a very obvious thing to say when a product is trying to be all natural, but it did have that convincing sense of all naturalness, and I'm trying to work out what it is. Maybe it's the fact that it feels very, very faceted. So it's got the green facet, it's got the slightly powdery facet, it's got the honeyed facet, it's got the kind of pink powdered facet. Okay, it doesn't smell as dark and dusky and peppery as some roses, but maybe that's not what Almairac was going for here. And it's definitely got a fruity, peachy quality. So all of the kind of facets of rose that would put a smile on your face. I will be very, very fascinated to see how this lasts. You're saying it's called Rose Ultimate. Perhaps it was called Rose Ultimate. I can't remember. Let's look at the little press release. So a card here saying, for the launch of Chloe Eau de Parfum Naturelle, Chloe has partnered with the Green Belt movement for each set scent. I guess they mean a press one. A tree will be planted by the organization. This action helps to engage communities, improve livelihoods, preserve the environment, and empower women. Okay. About the actual perfume, though, a little bit here about Chloe. 100% natural origin fragrance has been developed with ethically sourced ingredients and lower impact packaging. Chloe's modern woody rose returns to full bloom, resonating in the atmosphere of today. And then there's a little explanatory note that says the formula contains ethically sourced neroli, rose, cedarwood, and citron. Is there any more? More about it being natural. Natural, I would like to sort of get to the actual perfume bit. The emblem of Chloe's signature has always been a fresh, faceted, unique rose. This authentic flower is brought to the forefront at the heart of the new fragrance, which was created by the perfumer Michel Almairac. Present in noblest form, it is grown on an organic farm in Bulgaria. This essential rose joins neroli to form a velvety bouquet that exalts the vivid freshness of citron and blackcurrant buds. Okay, there's the fruitiness. Soft, sunny mimosa absolute blends a sensuous floral spirit with the distinctive vibration of cedar-based notes. I haven't seen vibration in a press release for a while. This powerful yet refined woody signature leaves an impression that lingers for hours. Now, it's interesting that they've actually specified that it lingers for hours, because I wonder if that means that it doesn't. And they're trying to convince you that it does, but I shouldn't say that. In addition to the rose, several other ingredients were carefully selected. The essences of citron and neroli, for instance, are produced on sustainable plantations in Morocco and Italy. And then there's something about the bottle. It says further reinterpreted to be lower impact through reclaimed materials. 25% of the glass bottle and 100% of the polyester in the ribbon are made with recycled materials, which also make up 40% of the cardboard box. I'm really, really curious, those of you watching, whether you are watching live or the recording, how much of that is a sort of deal maker or deal breaker for you? If there's a perfume out there that you really, really love, but when you make some inquiries about how ethically sourced the ingredients are and it turns out that they're not, is that a deal breaker for you? Are you actually going to turn around and say that you're not going to buy it? And vice versa, if there's a perfume about which you feel a bit lukewarm, but you like the brand's eco credentials, do you then think, actually, I'm going to buy that one? Lots and lots of comments, and sorry, I will read all of them after the broadcast is over. I can't read every single one now. Jack Dean saying you can plant trees for £1 per tree these days through various charities. David says, I'm wearing rose today. Guerlain's Naima. Oh, you smell amazing, David. Woozy says, my favourite rose is probably Radical Rose at the moment, although I also love Encens Rosé and Encens Mythique. Radical Rose is from Premier Matière, isn't it? And I'm trying to get hold of some of their stuff so that we could potentially review it here on the channel. Time to Musk Up says, if they really wanted to help the environment, they would stop making perfume in general. But you could say, if we really wanted to help the environment, there's lots of things we would stop doing. I mean, I'm sort of playing devil's advocate a little bit saying that, but you know what I mean. Where are we up to with comments? Herb says, perfumes in general have very little environmental impact. Fair trade, sustainable food is magnitudes more important. And Balcony says, it's Balcony Baroness, I love that. It's lovely that they go to that length, but no, it's not a deal breaker nor maker. The scent itself is what matters. Okay, now, this is lovely though. It's really, really, I mean, it's the kind of rose that absolutely I would want to wear. And it's the kind of rose that I would be saying to lots of guys, wear it. You know, you will be presenting a kind of interesting scent profile by wearing this, because it is a bit sweet, but it's not over sweet. It's definitely leaning more towards the woods and the citruses. And it's got such a lovely complex sheerness. So it's sheer and transparent, and yet it seems to have a lot of substance to it. Like, I don't know, like looking through a marble, sort of carved marble screen that is so fine, it's almost completely transparent, and you forget that you're looking through beautifully, beautifully finely carved marble. And actually, it's got a sort of coldness of marble to it as well, but in a very attractive way. No, that is interesting. That is interesting. And somebody saying, Clicked thinking it's a recording, but it's live. Yes, you are live. Welcome, Yogo80. Sarah says, I do like when I run across some sort of ethics statement. Keiko Makeri comes to mind. Makes me eager to learn more about the brand for sure. Glad Almairac's creation is not a dud, says Joanna. Online review seems to say it has no longevity. You should tell us about the skin performance, says Woozy. Okay, I will. I will wear it on skin and then either in the video description, but more than likely on the blog, I will give you an update on how it was on skin. Yasu Ilya. We should move on because I needed to remind myself that I'm not doing one perfume here. I'm doing several, and I'm kind of going into the mode of just talking about the one. Next, we go from, you know, as mainstream high street a brand as you could get to something that is very, very independent, because I thought we could have a sniff together of the latest from Dusita, which is a brand that I think enjoys a lot of love and appreciation out there amongst online scent enthusiasts. This is the brand new one called Anamcara, which I think was launched a matter of days ago, at the most, I think a couple of weeks. So do let me know what you think of the brand. It's not a brand to which I have actually given a huge amount of time on the blog, and I should address that. Anamcara is beautiful, says David. Okay, so you've already tried it. I love it and will be getting it. Ah, excellent. Tell me more, tell me more. I had the briefest of brief sniffs when I received this, and then I thought to myself, no, don't smell anymore. Just do a video and share it with people. Is it, how do you say that name from Brazil? Is it Acervo or Acervo? Hello from Brazil. Love your work. Thank you very much. And Sarah says, so happy you're trying Anamcara. I'm signed up for the pre-sale. I love Dusita. Is she coming online, says Tashara. Who do you, well, we should do an interview with her one day, but not today. I do find the oud very impressive from Dusita. That is like a sort of, okay, everybody else can go home now. Time to play with your toys, little boys and girls, because the grown-ups are in town type of oud. All I know about this one so far in terms of its idea is that it's meant to be the scent of friendship and reconnecting, which is very, very timely. But let's have a spray. And this is an eau de parfum. I know quite a few of the brand's work is extrait form. David says, from Dusita, I also have Douceur de Siam, and it's beautiful too. Time to Musk Up, Oud Infini is the only thing I've tried from them. Dusita have pulled out of the UK too. Can't get them at Les Senteurs anyhow, says Rich Mitch. I am really trying, and interestingly, I'm failing to get some kind of an official statement from brands or agreement from a brand to come on the channel and talk about this, because here's a little bit of a tangent, but it is relevant. Brexit has had a massive effect on the ability of EU brands to continue functioning and operating in the UK. I know that because of the extra bureaucracy that is now involved, if you're based in the EU and you want to deal with the UK, I think actually not just if you're based in the EU, I think wherever you are, because of the extra bureaucracy that is involved, and by bureaucracy we mean money, a lot of brands have either decided that in the UK they have got to massively streamline their portfolio because they cannot afford to register every single product that they want to sell, and some brands have actually thought, not worth it, not doing it, we need to withdraw completely. I didn't know that Dusita is one of them. I was aware that Parfum d'Empire have decided that they can't carry on for the moment, and I think there are going to be more brands that were doing perfectly well, thank you very much, you know, ticking over nicely in the UK, and they're not going to be doing it anymore. Rich says, I spoke to the guy in Les Senteurs, whoever that is, and he spoke about how many brands have left. Mona di Oreo too. Or it could be the reverse, like Ostens, says Woozy. Yeah, it's oh, and Les Indemodables as well, says Rich Mitch. Now that I didn't know. That would be very, very sad. Anyway, Anamcara from Dusita. I did immediately get a very, very strong floral whiff as soon as I sprayed it. It's very dense. On paper, it comes across as quite heavy. Now, after the sheer quality of the Chloe that we've just had, this feels a lot stickier, a lot more demanding somehow. And it's interesting that it's meant to be the smell of friendship and reconnecting. As with a lot of perfumes of this sort of style, the blend is such that it becomes harder to pick out individual notes. These sorts of perfumes don't tend to be so interested in legibility, but more about creating almost like a sort of wall of scent. So there's a sense of florals, maybe jasmine-like florals. There's a sense of wateriness, definitely a strong base of woods, and something very, very, very animalic in the base, which I'm guessing, I haven't tried this on skin, but I'm guessing this would be the thing that would actually make it feel very warm on skin. I'm intrigued. I'm not sure I'm entirely enamored, because why not? Because does there feel like there's some sort of a clash, a sort of bitter clash somewhere? Maybe something like petitgrain adding a kind of clangy metallic quality. Interesting, but I'm reserving judgment for the moment. Johanna says, meantime, UK brands paused shipping to the EU, including 4160 Tuesdays, Papillon, words on their websites to that effect. Yes, I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess. Otis F96 says, I ordered some blotter strips from Santis today after remembering that you mentioned them a few episodes ago. Such a fascinating little company. Absolutely. Let's look at... There's a new one. I haven't been called that before. John says, first time I've caught you live, Persababes. I'll take it. Okay, I can do Julian Clary, Persababes, do what you like. Let's take a very, very brief look at the material. Anamcara is an exceptional fruity, floral, woody, yeah, fruity, but very, very sticky fruit composition based on precious natural ingredients. Its name means soul friend in Gaelic. Okay, so like a soulmate or a... So there's definitely strength. Okay, so this is not a flimsy connection. This is not a passing acquaintance. This is like you're connected. Oh, Persabay for us cool young guys. I couldn't possibly comment. Maybe I should just be, love at first scent with Persabay. Take her, sire, Oh, stop now. Behave. So, soul friend, a person to whom one would turn for life advice and spiritual guidance. Our idea was to create a fragrance that would unite people in spite of borders and barriers, gracefully radiating aesthetic pleasure, emotional bliss, and clarity of mind. It's a bit strong for that, though, isn't it? I don't know. So, in the opening, an invigorating blood orange announces a profoundly comforting orange flower. Okay, yes, thank you. I knew I was getting like North African sweets, and I couldn't say why. Accented by the delicate floral nuances of a freesia accord. In the heart, there is Pissara's tea accord, embellished by peach apricot notes and vanilla, harmonically blending with the spectacular floralcy and inherent fruitiness of rose de may, tuberose, and night-blooming jasmine. So yeah, can't get more heavy-hitting than that. I mean, actually, that is what it is. It's a really, really heavy-hitting floral. And I think maybe because I already had in my head that it was meant to be the smell of friendship, I was expecting something a bit more approachable. But okay, this is meant to be strong bonds. This is meant to be strength, power. So that makes sense. In the base, I opted for serene woodiness, earthy patchouli, meditative cedarwood Virginia, and grassy Haitian vetiver. I do like where it's going now. I mean, I think that sort of maelstrom of clangy, clashy notes just ever so slightly put me off at the beginning. Let's see what comments are coming through. Still on the Persabay. Time to Mask Up says, sorry, I'm working and watching at the same time. What do you do? Have you already told us in the past? And are you watching? Should you not be watching? Or do you do the kind of work where actually doing this is okay? Everybody be quiet. Don't tell anyone that Time to Mask Up is watching. Is the peach as formidably cheeky as the peach in MDCI Pêche Cardinal? Says Euro. From memory, no. No. It's not so obviously cheeky. Is that a Ted Baker shirt? I think it is. That's very impressive. How did you know that? Does it scream Ted Baker? Well done. I'm pretty sure. Yes, you're right. Okay. Konstantinos says, new here. Greetings from Bulgaria, although Greek. You can be anything you like, anywhere you like. You're very welcome. David says, I think this may hint at Mélodie de l'amour, but I'm mostly reminded of Dior J'adore Infinissime. Really? Ah, apparently the button is the giveaway. I did not know this. I did not know. Thoughts compared with her other florals, Melody, Lalita, Sarah. Sorry, I would really have to get myself a little bit more up on what her other florals are like. So I wouldn't want to say. But I know we've talked a lot here about, in relation to this, about tuberose, jasmine, freesia, etc. But there isn't a particular standout. This is about the blend, and it is about a kind of overall impression of strength. If it is meant to be about friendship, I can see this about being about a really, really strong, powerful hand, arm, giving you strength and lifting you up. I think it's that kind of friendship that is being expressed in this perfume. An unbreakable bond. So yes, but we need to and the orange blossom is coming through a lot as well. Right, and now for something completely different. Perfumer H, Lynn Harris's brand, have got their current season of scents out. I have talked about Perfumer H a few times on this channel, and I'm pretty sure I did, having done several episodes now, it does get a little bit hard to over 200 episodes to keep track of in my head of what I have or haven't done. I'm pretty sure I've done a dedicated Perfumer H episode, but very, very quickly, the way that Perfumer H works is that they have their sort of unchanging roster of scents, but twice a year for the seasons, a little bit, like haute couture, they also present 5 scents that are meant to be the scents of that season, but they're not always all new, which makes it a little bit confusing. And Lynn Harris, the perfumer, always ensures that they represent, that each one represents a different fragrance family. So for instance, for this upcoming season now, for the current season now, she's done a citrus scent, which is called Neroli. She's done a floral called Snowdrop. She's done a fougere called Rain Moss, which is the one we're going to smell. She's done a woody perfume called Charcoal, and she's done an oriental, she is still calling it oriental, called Dust. Now, I would have to check my notes, but I'm pretty sure that at least a few of those are old ones that are coming back, because I remember the names. I did actually, I've only got a sample of Rain Moss, and I checked my notes, and a few years ago there was one called Rain Wood, I believe. So I don't think it's the same perfume. I don't think it's the same perfume with a slightly different name. I think it is a different perfume. Incidentally, in case you're interested, there are also going to be 5 candles. A citrus one called Marmalade, a green one called Dandelion, a woody one called Fern, not a fougere one called Fern, a floral one called Ivy, and again an oriental one called Smoke. Dust, I seem to remember, was a beautiful perfume, but I could be getting mixed up, because when you have names that could stand for lots of things, when you have names like Charcoal and Dust and Smoke, it's easy to forget what's what. But this is Rain Moss. Now the Lynn Harris aesthetic for Perfumer H anyway is to make scents that absolutely do not shout, and you may like the aesthetic or you may not. You have to pay a lot of money to be able to enjoy this particular aesthetic. But whether you like it or not, you have to hand it to Lynn Harris for sticking to it and for sticking to it throughout the development of this Perfumer H brand. These are scents that have a very, very restrained, sophisticated quality to them. They are complex, they are multifaceted, but they do not project tremendously. And also, I would imagine that some people would say that they don't last long enough, but they don't make any apology for that. They are what they are, and some of them really are stunning. Lynn Harris handles natural smelling notes, citrusy notes, floral notes extremely well, and she is very, very good at doing ambery, warm scents. Now this one, so this is Rain Moss. Ooh. So this is classed, I haven't read the little blurb yet, this is classed as a fougere, but it's definitely on the sort of greener, woodier side of fougere. Who's that? Gavin says, candles are the gift that say, I don't know you. I don't agree. When I give candles to people, I put tons of thought into, what sort of candle they make. Like, no, I'm not with you on that one. I mean, any gift can be a gift that says, perfume could be a gift that says, I don't know you. If you just go in and buy, you know, whatever somebody behind the counter says, oh, it's new, it's marketed by Jude Law's third cousin twice removed or something. No, you can put tons of thought into a candle. You could also put tons of thought into a candle if you want the person's house to not smell particularly nice, if that's the kind of relationship you have with that person. But so this is, I suppose you could class it as a fougere, but to me it comes across as really, really quite woody, even though it's called rain moss. It's not particularly dewy. The focus is very much on the earth, on the moss. So it's got the green quality, it's got that inky quality that you would want from the moss. And Lynn Harris is also very good at making things smell. What was the gunpowder perfume that she did? Oh, this is really testing my memory now, and this could be completely wrong, and somebody will tell me if I am wrong. Did she not do a gunpowdery one for Trudon, as in Sia Trudon? And she's good at restrained, quiet explosions, and there is an explosiveness here. She's good at doing very, very Englishly repressed emotion, or suppressed emotion, not repressed, but suppressed. And there is a sense here of this forest floor, this mossy floor, that maybe could be covering a volcano. I wonder if I've mentioned this video here before, but do you remember the Bjork video for the song called Yoga? I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's the song where the chorus goes, state of emergency, how beautiful to be in a state of emergency, or something like that. And the video is a computer-generated video, which I think shows the map of Iceland with all the tectonic plates covering all of the volcanoes. There you go. Somebody's saying it was Trudon's revolution. Thank you very much. And this seems to have that kind of quality of this sort of Scandinavian restraint at the top, but underneath is fire and explosiveness. Interesting. Definitely one to come back to. Natasha Morabito says, Perfumer H will send you 2 free samples of any of their scents if you send a polite email asking. Okay, so maybe you could say, Dear Perfumer H team, I was watching a wonderful video with the incomparable Persolaise the other day, and somebody said that, Yogo says, oh my god, love the Bjork reference. Oh, I love Bjork. She did some lovely fragrances years ago from M&S, says Angela. I particularly liked Poudre. Yes, she did. You're absolutely right. Leah says, the smell of perfumed emotion, getting the image of Emma Thompson in Sense and Sensibility. Ah, that makes me want to watch that film again. That was a good adaptation. That was a good Austen adaptation. I need to label some of these blotters, actually. I forgot that I do that. So we'll put an H here, because I'll remember that that's Perfumer H. That is clearly the Dusita, which is, ooh, really sweetly pink now. Dear Perfumer H, Persolaise says, you have free stuff, please send. It's like, yo, Lynn. And, okay. Right, and let's do one. Now, this is a funny one. I wanted to share this with you because I don't know whether this next thing I'm about to share with you, whether it's a joke or whether we're meant to. It's got to be a joke. It has got to be a joke. Oh, sorry, backtrack. We didn't do the blurb on rain moss. Very quickly, it's brief. A magical mist of rain, wood and moss combined with top notes of galbanum from Iran, white cyclamen and lavender with a hint of rose, resting on a base of Haitian vetiver, cedar and birch tar. There you go, birch tar. Finally sealed with an intriguing rain moss accord of angelica, clary sage from Russia, patchouli and moss, creating something nostalgic and beautiful for the skin. I'll go with nostalgic. Absolutely that quality there. Okay, so fast forward. This, how many of you are aware of this? I mean, this comes with the most intriguing ad campaign. This is called Vacation by Vacation. The reason why I want to share it with you is because it's actually pretty good. Ryan says, "Oh my God, my lord is live." And you will call me Perso Babes for the remainder of this episode. Perso slays. Look, how many of you have seen this? I think this is a perfume that the people behind it are marketing themselves very heavily on Instagram. Yeah, I forgot the name of that huge social media platform. And this has been developed, according to the official blurb, it's been developed by Carlos Huber of Arquiste, and there you go, and Rodrigo Flores-Roux. But I don't know whether this is like a genuine other brand that has commissioned them to make this perfume. I mean, I just don't know, because the leaflet that comes with it couldn't be more studiedly like sort of 80s. The SPF 30 classic lotion, you know, there's Vacation and the world's best smelling sunscreen. But you know, you're expecting Jane Fonda to pop out of this of this leaflet. But they're quoting Vanity Fair and Forbes magazine and Newsweek and Vogue as saying that this is the best smelling sunscreen out there. If you go on their website, so the website is www.vacation.inc, you have the option to have a business card made for yourself. I mean, it's almost like a kind of parody of a 1980s Martin Scorsese movie. If Martin Scorsese had made a movie about the manufacturer of a sunscreen that also has like connections with the mob somewhere in the background. This sounds very 80s, says Yura. Gian says, I haven't smelt it, but do own a bottle of Sydney Rockpool from Arquiste, which is very evocative of my day spent at the beach in Florida. That font comes with instructions for a food mixer, says Gavin, getting confused with Vacances by Patou. Yeah, now I've tried Sydney Rockpool as well, and I don't get that similar a vibe, because this really is what it says on the packaging, on the tin. This is that sunscreen that you remember from your childhood. I mean, as an evocation of that particular type of sunscreen that had those, you know, sort of salicylate biscuit notes. It always felt like somebody had rubbed like buttery biscuits all over you, and I don't think a lot of modern sunscreens have that smell. Like, I don't know, the ones that I think of like from Nivea, they have a very, very different sort of scent. But this is it's amazing. It's like, okay, not only am I on holiday, but I'm on holiday as a kid in the 80s. Because it's got that coconut feel, it's got that slight banana inflection. Here's the theme from Miami Vice, says MK. Yes, it totally is like a buttery biscuity base. This is handy when you miss the sun, says Yura. Completely. Looks like an updated Dua bottle. And I don't think this is particularly expensive from memory. But I love the way that they describe the notes as well, because it says, contained herein is the signature scent of Vacation brand sunscreen. I mean, is there really actually a Vacation sunscreen, or is this all part of the joke? Developed in collaboration with and especially for Vacation by Arquiste Parfumer, Vacation is a rich and distinctive olfactory odyssey that immerses the wearer in the inimitable sunscreen experience. Outdoor plans optional. With Vacation, all of your best sunscreen memories are conveniently bottled and sprayable on demand with interpolated notes of coconut, banana, pineapple, fine, orange blossom, fine. But then we get pool water, swimsuit lycra, and a playful touch of inflatable pool toy. If you say so. I mean, I still can't get past the pineapple, banana, and coconut. The website is quite amusing, says Gian, just like browsing an 80s beauty magazine, very, very tacky. Completely. I mean, it obviously it's done on purpose, but is it done on purpose as a total joke? Or are we, you know, meant to believe some of it? I just don't know. I mean, you know, there's like a Freddie Mercury lookalike here in the picture. But as a perfume, it totally is what it says it is meant to be. Let's label that with a V actually for Vacation. And I suppose the closest equivalent I can think of is Bronze Goddess from Estee Lauder, and maybe to some extent the Guerlain Terracotta. But this smells trashier. And I think because it smells trashier, it smells so much better, because you don't hold back with a scent like that. I don't think you can do elegant, sophisticated sunscreen. So if you're going to do sunscreen, you're doing the whole coconut, pineapple, pour the pina colada all over me. You know, you've got to do that. You've got to own it. You've got to strut down the beach as though you are just basically a walking coconut palm. $60 says Sarah. Okay, well, that is not pricey for this kind of thing. For what sort of size? This is a fluid ounce. Oh, my conversions. Somebody convert for me. Mile High has that vibe for me, says Woozy. I see, it didn't for me. Interesting, interesting. This should definitely come with a pair of inflatable armbands. If anybody from Vacation by Vacation is watching this, you can have that idea for free. But not pricey for this crowd, says Sarah. And Ilias says, this might be a blind buy for me. Comme des Garçons has a new perfume in collaboration with ERL, and it's the same concept. It's called Sunscreen. Yes, I saw that. And I would love to try and get a hold of it. Herb says, Dompteuse Engagée from Lutin's was sunscreenish and didn't stick the landing because it was pulling punches. Yes, you don't pull punches when you're doing something like this. $2 for a mil, that's a lot, says Time to Muscat. I'll leave you to have the discussion about cost because we are still doing okay for time. I'd like to do, in the spirit of the original episodes of Love at First Scent, I would like to do a classic scent. I'd like to go back to the 80s. This is a tiny little mini bottle, and this is from Guerlain, and I thought to myself that it might be an idea to do a Guerlain that very few people talk about anymore, because I hope to be able to bring you another Guerlain dedicated video soon. So this is a kind of teaser for what may be coming. And most of you will know this, even though maybe some of you out there won't have had a chance to smell it, and maybe some of you won't have had a chance to smell it in this iteration. So we kind of go from fake 80s, pseudo 80s to real 80s. And this is, you know what this is. This is Derby, or, you know, as they said when I wanted to buy this in France, Derby. There you go, Euro, well done. You should do a La Matière episode. Watch this space. And I had to pick up this mini because I smelt it and I thought, gosh, this is in pretty good condition. So this is a 1985 composition that was originally made by Jean-Paul Guerlain. And like so many things at Guerlain, it's been through various guises, various iterations. I don't think that Derby was ever released under another name. I know that in the what's this? I want to watch you rip into Angelique Noir while people in public cry. Oh dear. Okay, moving on. I know that in the newly reissued Aromatière range, there are some scents that we know from before that are back under a different name. So I think I'm right in saying that Dimanche à la Campagne is back under a different name. I think that Arsène Lupin Le Voyou is back under a different name. I mean, Guerlain love doing this to us, don't they? But I don't think that Derby ever had a different name, even though it did come out in different bottles. So this was its original bottle when it was its own scent. Then I think it came in a B bottle as part of the Parisien range, and then it stayed in the Parisien range but came out in a different bottle, that sort of rectangular bottle with the wood frame. And I think that's when it was officially, formally reformulated. And whether there were any bottles in between, I don't know, because with Guerlain you really lose track, and you need a website like Monsieur Guerlain to keep track of it all, and of course that doesn't exist anymore. You have some sadists in your following, Persolaise, says Leah Andrews. There you go. Herbe troublante is Dimanche à la Campagne. I thought it might have been. Right, let's do a few drops on skin, because this needs to be put on skin. Several critics have said, no, let's do a bit more, have said that it's certainly one of the greatest masculines of the 80s, if not one of the greatest masculines of all time. Ashfaq says, don't worry, they'll return under different names. It has become a Guerlain tradition. Yes, I mean, and, you know, if you have to have the perfume under a different name, I don't mind, as long as they kind of tell us and we do get the perfume. Like, you know, the classic one is what? Attrape-Coeur, Guet-Apens, which is now Royal Extract, and was Vol de Nuit Évasion. What's the bottle supposed to represent, says Sue? I don't know. I don't know, actually. Does anybody out there know? I mean, it's a very, very 80s looking bottle. The proper bottle was just a large version of this. This is the mini, and it's got how much in it? I can't really see there. No, I can't see that. I don't actually. Oh no, here we go. 7.5 mils. So quite a generous mini. Now, what is this? because of the age of the sample, I think, and maybe it wasn't stored perfectly. The top notes are a little bit off, but you soon get to what makes this special. Because in terms of its structure, it is very manly, says Ashfar, coming from a Reach fan. In terms of its structure, it doesn't do anything especially novel. I don't think it was even doing anything especially novel in the 80s, because it is basically a woody balsamic scent in that kind of manly way. You know, let's stick some balsams, you know, Peru balsam and patchouli and vetiver and a hint of vanilla. But Jean-Paul Guerlain seemed to be good at just making those sorts of notes sing by injecting them with something completely unexpected. So he was very, very, very brave and free and liberal with his use of stereotypically female floral notes in perfumes for men. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if this has got a hefty dose of rose and jasmine in it. And also what's famous about this one is its use of mint at the top to really kind of brighten things up and make them shimmer and sparkle. He tried to pull off, and I think he mostly succeeded, he tried to pull off a similar trick in Arsène Lupin Le Dandy. Coriolan was an interesting one, although as soon as I said that, I thought to myself, was Coriolan made by Jean-Paul Guerlain? I'm pretty sure that it was, because again, that was a similar sort of idea, but with a lot of juniper. I was a fan of Coriolan, and I think that came out as, that was reissued as the Soul of a Hero. Was it L'âme, how do you say, d'un héros or something like that? And he I think it was Luca Turin said that even though Jean-Paul Guerlain is rightly celebrated for having made Chamade and Nehema, it's actually his sense for men, for himself, that are equally interesting, if not more interesting, because of course he made Ali Rouge, he made Vetiver, he gave us Heritage, and this. And it's so unfair that this wasn't more successful, and I can only put it down to the fact that it wasn't as 80s as it might have been. So it, much as I love Antaeus, much as I love Kouros, this is a kind of different level of sophistication. Strikes a much more mature note, and therefore a less brash, less 80s note. And I'm not saying this in any way at all to knock Antaeus and Kouros, because regular viewers will know how much I love those scents. But maybe this came out at the wrong time, and certainly the 90s were not going to be the right time for this sort of scent. Maybe it should have come out in the late 70s. Maybe it might have been an interesting sort of male counterpart to Opium, because it definitely has got that kind of rich, plummy, boozy feel to it as well. Maybe it was always going to be a one-off that was never going to find an audience. Maybe the bottle just didn't work, who knows, but it didn't find an audience, and yet it so should have. And you know, I think the closest counterpart I can think of is actually maybe something like Amouage Gold Man. Still one of my favorite perfumes. Similar sort of time as this, because I'm pretty sure Gold Man came out in 83 and this was 1985. That use of huge materials like rose, incense, balsams, resins, and yet somehow presented in a way that makes you feel like you're in the presence of great wisdom. You know, this is a kind of Solomon of perfumes. You go to the person wearing this for advice on a really pressing dilemma, for you know, insights into what big decision you should take in your life. You know, it's got that kind of thing, which makes it very far removed from what the prevailing mood of the 80s was, and also I think to some extent the 70s. Maybe there's never been a prevailing mood for wisdom, or maybe we're heading into a period of wisdom. Maybe the next generation, with their care and consideration for environmental factors, maybe they will be the wise ones. Can you compare this Naturelle with EDP and Absolute, says Monkey? Oh, Jeremy Kyle should have used it, says Euro, maybe. To go back to the Chloe, I would have to re-smell the other ones. The Morgan Freeman of perfumery, says Gavin. Yes, that is a fantastic description, and we will end on that. I'm going to steal that one for myself. Thank you very much, Gavin. This Derby speaks with Morgan Freeman's voice, and if they ever bring it back, and if they ever do an advert for it, they will need to use Morgan Freeman's voice for it, except that might make us think of penguins, which might not be the best thing, but I'm sure we'd get over it, and I'm sure we would cope, because you don't want to think of penguins when you smell this, but it is sublime. It's really, really, really beautiful. And each time you smell it, you think you're getting something interesting, because now I'm getting a kind of rubbery leather note. But it is wise. It is wise. It is sage. Sagacity. The sagacity of perfume masculines. Right. Let's have a quick sniff, and do let me know if you would like more videos. Does it give you happy feet? Very good. I see what you did there. Do let me know if you would like me to mix things up a bit more like this, and we will still definitely have. What about Samuel L. Jackson as the voice for the dark? No, because I think things. Did I break your concentration? No. We don't want that. We will still have best of videos. We will still have top 10s. We will still have brand focuses, and we will still have one perfume per episode. But let me know if every now and then you would like us to do a sort of roundup like this of a few new releases. I think it certainly makes for a more conducive communal experience. But let's quickly go through some of the other ones that we smelled. So the Chloe is still really, really rather fetching. I'm impressed. I will have to try and wear this. Please don't forget to hit like, as there is no love button, says Sue. Yes, if you do like it, and also, well, if you dislike it, go thumbs down as well. The Dusita, very, very definitely sweet orange blossomy at the moment. I'll be fascinated to see what it's going to be like on skin. Somebody said, loved this video. Thank you very much. Very kind. The vacation. Oh, the vacation, I think, is now giving me a little bit more Lilo. inflatable toy, which is interesting. Ordered vacation while we were chatting, going on a beach vacation in a few weeks. Why not? Oh, you have to let me know what you think of it. And the Perfumer H. See, that's sophisticated in a different way as well. That's sophisticated in a lighter way. Lynn Harris always does good things. How can anyone dislike Persolaise and his wonderful lives? Oh, don't worry. There are a few people out there. Don't worry. You can't please everybody. Okay, that's it from me for now. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks very much for providing me with a fun hour. It's always great interacting with you. And I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.